So we are in the journey of self-discovery. It is never lost. What is awakening? That you have a particular experience and that never leaves you. Other experiences comes and goes. Waking state comes and goes, sleeping state comes and goes, dream comes and goes. We eat food, we feel it very tasty, it comes and goes. We have to inquire, we have to sit down and logically understand, so that understanding becomes a knowledge. Knowledge is nothing but the consciousness, and we recognize, oh, that choiceless awareness is always there. That consciousness is always there. Look from a different perspective. If I say everything happens or takes place by one reality, the ultimate cause of everything is one reality. You have skyscrapers, you have mansion, you have homes. Can you have homes without the space? The answer is no. You cannot have any change in that space. But what is the beauty? The beauty is that nothing happens to the space. Nothing happens to the space. My son told me that, oh, we are building a custom home. So we bought a plot, land, but nothing happens to the space. So we are in the search for that ultimate cause, which is not at all affected, which does not change. It never undergoes a change. And that is what we have seen in the couple of the sessions, that there is something that never changes. The sleeping, the dream state, waking state comes and goes almost every day. Not only days, weeks, months, years passes, but that never changes. Unchanging, ultimate cause. Can it happen by just breathing practice, pranayama, mantra? This master says no. Logically understand. Don't fall into religion, cult, dogma, belief, mantra, etc. So only a seeker can enter into this journey who has a 360-degree understanding. Ford is a maker of cars, for example. So the Ford is the material cause. So he uses the material to make a car, and then he separates itself from the car that you own. Are you getting it? I'm taking you to a different journey. We are still talking of these three states to understand that. The Ford is made, but what car is made up of? It is made up of the steel. For example, the steel must be present in the car. The space must be present in the homes. Clay pot. Clay has to be present in the clay pot. But due to the ignorance, I see the clay pot, I see the home, I see the car. I don't see the steel. I don't see the clay. I don't see God is nothing but the same thing. Earring, necklace of gold, golden earring, golden necklace, golden nose pin, but I lose the ability to perceive all is gold, all is space. But at the same time, we have to understand nothing changes in the gold, nothing changes in the steel, nothing changes in the space. That unchanging reality is uncreated. That uncreated is the consciousness, and that uncreated is the real self. Then, how to relate what is created? Car, clay pot, earring, necklace. They are the manifestations. Then we use another word, they are the manifestations. If it is a creation, it becomes less and more. But the space, no less, no more. Steel, no less, no more. Clay, nothing is less, nothing is more. Do you see that? So, can I say that when the space is infinite, whatever manifests is also infinite? Are you thinking and contemplating? Whatever is the manifestation because it manifests, or for example, you say it is created, that clay pot is infinite because it is made up of the clay. But there is only one difference. The clay is not the clay pot, the steel is not the car. How can you say that? The space inside this home is not separated. It is still one with the infinite space outside the home. Home is just a manifestation. It is limited by the walls and by the boundary, by the patio, by whatever it is. The space exists yesterday, exists today, it will continue to exist tomorrow. Now, home is created, built, car is created, but that space remains uncreated. And it is the space that gives the shape to anything, to home, to highways, to streets. Do you think where we are going? That consciousness has given the space, limited. So it is known by name and the form. It is known by the Dennis. It is known by the David. It is known by the Jerry. We repair home, not the space. We repair the car, not the space. We repair the body, not the space. Can we separate this identification with whatever is manifesting, whatever is changing? Let me drop that. Am I speaking? Answer is no. I'm using the body, the senses, and the mind to speak. The mind may get exhausted, the body also, but the consciousness behind never gets exhausted. Why I said so? Gradually we will pick up. Same thing. Can we say the home is also infinite? I am also infinite. Why? The home has taken the infinite space from the infinite space. Body is moving. It has taken the consciousness. So the consciousness is the ultimate reality. That is what the real self is. That is what the real self is. So I did not speak of the Shanti mantra. That is why we have another Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadai Purnameva Vashishyasi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Understand these four parts of this verse. So the master says, now you have become a higher level of a seeker. So understand that real self is infinite. Thus, anything that manifests through that real self will also be infinite. We'll understand. You'll have a lot of questions. So once you understand this, the the understanding and realizing the real self becomes easier. Just as the ocean is vast, so too are the number of droplets within it are also vast, infinite. I'm also giving a metaphor and example. So that is the first line, meaning of the mantra. Now, first, that real self is infinite. So whatever is a manifestation is also infinite. I should have that awareness to see it, to recognize it. Second meaning, his second line, he says the infinite proceeds from the infinite. When the infinite, the space does not change, whatever the manifestation, it should also point out to the infinite. Countless waves arising from the boundless ocean, that infinite space. Go on finding. We have not only the solar system, the galaxies, unending. Third line, taking that infinitude of the infinite. So any manifestation takes a part of that infinite space, and that is what we say creation, that is what we say body, that is what we say mind, that is what we say intellect, that is what we say waking state, dream state. Before going into the other verses, we have to be very clear what we are, what is the object of knowledge. Object of knowledge here is the real self. So then what in the fourth line, the master says the infinite remains as it is. It does not undergo a change, and that we are. So once we have all the limitations gone due to the ignorance and the delusion, we are there. That is what is called the awakening. That is what is called the realization. Once you live into that, which is also known as the transformation. Now, simple questions. Do you apply this knowledge anytime, anywhere in the world, or you still have the same perception? If you have the same perception, so after the session, you'll fall back into anxiety, duality, conflict, and suffering. Otherwise, that sense of awareness, of peace, of joy, of happiness continues. Hearing, yes, I see it through the sense organ, but it's still gold, gold, gold. So if we don't apply these principles in our perception, then the mind is not going to change. Mind will pick up the past impression and it will have the same level of awareness. And that awareness is guided by the ignorance, duality, and conflict will have. So if yes, you don't need to practice. You need only to have a perception, knowledge. If no, you need to practice daily. What is that practice? Listening and learning, contemplation and reflection, followed by the practice that we are doing it on Mondays and Thursdays. Then what is the practice? First, listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, and practice. You are aware of the knower along with the objects and its experiences. Did you understand it? Knowledge of object. No. In the last session, I think 2 sessions, I talked about it is knowledge of an object. No, it is an object of knowledge. Object of knowledge. Why? When we say the object of knowledge, my awareness goes inside. Mind turns inside and looks at the knower, and you are there. Knowledge of home, no. Home of knowledge. I enter into the space. Mind merges into the consciousness when it looks inward at the knower. That is known as the choiceless awareness. I'm defining. That is the meaning of living in a moment. Then what happens? Instead of knowledge of an object, it is the object of knowledge. Then what happens? Then I see the world does not change. It remains as it is. Say, for example, you are awakened and your friend continues to drag you, hate you. He or she will continue to hate you. But your perception towards that person has changed. The world does not change. My perception of the world has changed. You perceive the world of people, relationship, time, and the space with that higher awareness of the knower. You are 25 years old. You have a tremendous energy, or you are 70 years old. You have lost many abilities of the sense organs, but behind that, you remain as it is. When I identify with the world is suffering. Buddha says, when I drop that identification, means I remove the ignorance and impurity of the mind, then the same world is now no more suffering at all. That is the message in these verses Master gives. Waking state changes, dream state changes, sleep state changes. Just to remind you, do you remember the 5 stages? Seekers, I have become a seeker. Second is I approach the teacher with the humility, keeping aside my past impressions and the knowledge and all those duality and a conflict. Then I listen and learn. That is the third step. I repeat listening and learning, contemplate and reflect. And the fruit of that reflection, not the practice, is what it is. So you have to contemplate and reflect this week what is uncreated and what is created. The space is not created. So I cannot say the space is home, but I can say the home is space. Water is not a wave, but wave is water. So in ignorance, I lose the ability to perceive the wave is also a water. In my intellect, I drop the name in the form. With the moment you drop the name in the form, it becomes an object of knowledge. Object is the wave of knowledge happening inside me. It is knowledge is not happening in the way. Knowledge is not happening in the house, not in the car. It is happening. So when it is happening inside me, so there is only one knowledge. Knowledge happens in the presence of the consciousness. So the knowledge is consciousness. I am consciousness. Do you see? We are not talking of any religion, cult, dogma. So you have already understood the first two verses gives you the three. It demands that you should follow your intellect with a 360-degree understanding. In the third, fourth, and the fifth, he explains what he explains. He explains the waking state, the sleep state, and the dream state. Object of knowledge, sound, form are the objects of knowledge. Due to their perception in the waking state, they are seen to be different from each other. It's very clear. Dennis is different from David. David is different from Gary. So I have a different experiences, variety of objects, variety of experiences, but the consciousness is the same. The homogeneous nature of the consciousness, that does not change. That does not differ. That is what happens in the waking state. And what happens in the dream state? Same thing. I have dreamer, dream objects, and the knowledge and experience of the dream objects. But the consciousness behind remains the same. And in the sleep state, the body and the mind is not there. Still, I experience. What do I experience? I experience the absence of objects. There is a presence of objects. Take an example. I ask you to enter into a dark room and bring my phone from there. So you enter into a dark room. You say nothing is there. Ask yourself, who says nothing is there? You are there. That's why you are asking a question. So it means that consciousness is still present in the deep sleep. Mind is not there. That's why the mind does not recognize, but it recognizes when you return to the waking state. When you return to the waking state. So the master says in the sixth verse that consciousness is distinct from all the objects. You have millions of objects, you have millions of experiences. It differs. It is different from the consciousness. Thus, in all the three states, there is the same consciousness. What is the doubt here? What is the problem here? The problem here is that it is the illusion of multiple knowledges. There is no multiple knowledges. Knowledge is one. This is an object. Tomorrow it dies. So does the knowledge of this person changes in you? It remains the same. So that is what I say. This master says, now the magic. What is the magic of understanding? I know David. So it's the knowledge of an object, David. So there the confusion and ignorance is. It is not the knowledge of David, it is the David of knowledge. Object is there of knowledge. That is the magic. So it means when I say, yes, I know you. So first I know this object, I know that object. So object is always associated with their experiences. So experience of knowledge, it is me. That is the magic. All knowledge is one, appearing as many, because the mind, due to the impurity and ignorance, it focuses outside in the world. So the master is asking a question: is it knowledge of an object or object of knowledge? We have to think a lot, contemplate and reflect a lot. So because my mind by default believe in multiple separate knowledges, so in a transactional reality, it is okay. Knowledge of a wall, knowledge of a computer, but knowledge is one, it is happening in the consciousness. So there is an inversion of knowledge in the objects. One thing more, if consciousness is not there, I don't have any knowledge. So knowledge and that consciousness are exactly are one, are one. So what it proves? It proves that consciousness is omnipresent. It is present everywhere, like the space which does not change. So the consciousness does not undergo a change. It pervades in all the states of the consciousness. When I'm in stress, consciousness is there. Otherwise, I cannot recognize I'm in stress. But it is a part of the mind and the body and indulgence and attachment and identification, and I'm separate from this. So, what we do in ignorance, we perceive separate consciousness of stress, of anger, of hesitation, of joy, of taste, of eating pasta. We have separated. How come we have separated? Because of the duality, because of the ignorance, because of the impurity in the mind. But the fact that it is the same consciousness. So there, another principle comes: the false I and the real self. The false I obscures. So when I say I have knowledge of David, Samir, and all the people, I have the knowledge of the monitor. So what is happening? It means I'm I'm asking of the false I. I'm not looking at the real I. Basically, it is an object of knowledge. It is not an object, knowledge of an object. So why there is a knowledge of an object? Because of the false perception, because of the false I. And it is so simple. I gave you an example. Tomorrow this guy dies. The knowledge of that guy does not change. So that is why this is an object of knowledge, not an knowledge of an object. You are crazy. So now you see, now the mind has veiled that pure consciousness. My focus is you are a person, you have a particular attitude, you are crazy. So the three thoughts have entered into the mind. So knowledge of craziness, knowledge of your attitude, knowledge of you as a person. Oh, it is scattered, it is divided. And when it is divided, so I have variety of objects, variety of experiences, and that causes a lot of confusion in our daily living. Think. There is another way to help this mind to move into the knowledge. So the master gives another way to understand that truth and the untruth are not seen. Untruth, non-existent. Truth, I don't see the space, I only see the room, the house, the highways. So he has said that there is another entity. Every master says the false is in between the truth and untruth. The truth is one that exists, that existed, that will continue to. Untruth is non existence. Then how to define the false? That appears true. I appear true talking to you. But because this body, mind, intellect, ego is constantly changing, and what is changing cannot be true. And it is dependent on the consciousness. This body, mind, intellect, and ego cannot manifest through speech, through sound, through movement, through eating. Look at it. So, false, first definition of the false, what appears true to me is not true. Why? Because it is changing. And second, it is dependent on the truth. It is house is dependent on the space. Earring, necklace, dependent on the gold. Body, mind, intellect, ego, dependent on that consciousness. I given many times that example. Dead, a person is dead, and that is brought, the body is brought. We say the body has come. And when someone knocks the door, we say, some guy has come. Do you see the object of knowledge? Knowledge of an object. That is the difference. So it is all. I start perceiving. I'm perceiving the clock and the wall and the monitor and you all. Oh, it appears true. And object of knowledge. We cannot classify anything that we know as the truth. Just look at it, it is constantly changing. And it depends on the consciousness. So the master says that waking state, the dream state, and the sleep state depends on that consciousness. Because of the consciousness, I know. I'm sleeping, I'm dreaming, I'm waking. So it means I filter out the false nature of my experiences. How? Just by awareness. I need not to do any practice. Waking seems real, but the waking dies, I enter into sleep. The sleep dies, I enter into the dream. The dream dies, I enter into the waking state again, constantly changing. The simple, I need not to identify it with it. How can I not identify? I have I see the world in the waking state. I have all the relations, they return as it is. They are your experiences, objects, variety of objects and variety of experiences. What about the sleep? It is the absence of experience, yet I exist. Look at it. I have to contemplate and reflect. When you start reflecting, you need not to practice meditation. Your eyes will naturally close and you are absorbed into that state of awareness. Contemplation and reflection is very important. That is the part of, you can say, the practice. That is the magic Master is talking about. Waking state appears real, but it is not permanent. Even those in Finland, where you have 6 months of no darkness, people have to sleep. It is, and the sleeping is an object, and variety of objects, variety of experiences. So the waking state exists in between the truth and the untruth. I cannot say it is untruth, that I am not a waker. Yes, at present I am a waker, but this waker will die and the birth of the sleep will take place. Just use the word, strong word. Dream state. Oh, from the sleep I transition into the dream. So everything is changing. But my experiences and the objects are different and their experiences is different. That is why I identify with these variety of objects and experiences. I don't see that there is one knowledge, one consciousness. What needs to be done? Self-inquiry. What is self-inquiry? I have to find out who am I? Am I a sleeper? Am I a waker? Am I a dreamer? And then I have to inquire all the objects that I experience in these three states, objects plus their experiences. That is what is known as the self-inquiry. So I have to discern between the false and the real. Or you can also say discern between the observer and the observed, the knower and the known, seer and the seen. Relative, I discussed about it. A relative knower, first level. My sense organs see you all. My sense organ is the relative knower number one. Now I have to inquire if I have some dust particle enters into my eyes, I cannot see you, or I'm already putting my glasses. So it means that knower has changed a lot. So it's a relative knower. Why it's a relative knower? That knower becomes the known. How it becomes the known? The relative knower number two, it is the mind. Mind can perceive all the sense organs. But another beauty, understand that I know my hand, but hand does not know me. The object of the senses do not know any sense organ. Why? It is matter. It is inert. Same way the sense organs do not know the mind because mind is behind. So what is the clue that we get? That knower is always behind whatever I know. Senses are behind. You are behind my sense organs, so I know you. So there we get a clue and clear understanding. The mind is upset, mind is happy. Who knows this? Who is the knower? Of mind upset, mind happy, mind enjoying, mind is experiencing the variety of. Oh, that knower, it is behind. It has to be behind. And what is that behind is our true nature. It is everlasting truth. Everlasting truth. Look at it again and again. Again, look at it. Movie screen, TV screen. Nothing changes on the TV screen on which the movie is manifesting, on which the movie manifests, soap opera manifests, your choice of your actor manifests, but nothing happens to that TV screen. Nothing happens to that consciousness. Can I abide in that consciousness is the journey of realizing the real self, and that is what is known as the choiceless awareness. It is popularized by one great master, again from India, his J. Krishnamurti. So, because he wanted to use a different word than awakening, so he used the word choiceless awareness. Why? Consciousness is only one, it is all pervading. You can only have a choice if there are two. There is no two. There is no two at all. There are no two consciousnesses. But I create, due to the false identification, I create waking consciousness, dream consciousness, sleep consciousness. So there are already three. Consciousness is like an ocean, and objects and experiences are like the waves. Waves appear distinct, but are essentially the same water. Anything happens to the water? No. The very constitution of H2O does not change. Or you can say the consciousness is like a mirror reflecting various objects. The reflections seem separate, but are all made possible by the one mirror that is consciousness. I know it seems little tough. You have not very tough if you are paying attention to it. It is not tough as it is. It is the same thing because whatever is coming in the next few verses is very important to grasp because on which all the 15 chapters depends. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. Yadi deham prathakratya chati vishramya tishtasi adhunaiv sukhi shantah bandhamukto bhavishyasi. First line. If you separate, it means you discern that you are not the body. How can I be the body? So first we go in the same manner in the beginning that you are comfortable, place of the body, place of the body. Do you see that? Do you see the sentence and a phrase? Can I say the place of knowledge? It is the same observer of body of knowledge. It is the same observer. Can you see? Can you discern between the knower and the known? There are two things known: place plus experience, and the body plus experience. You need not to do anything at all. Oh, then be comfortable. Oh, I said be comfortable. To whom I'm addressing, be comfortable. I, yes. So do I claim that I'm the body? No. So the comfort is in the body, experienced in the mind. I'm taking a, we are having a flight of an eagle. You are leaving, you're going up. So what I said, being comfortable. So comfort in the body and experienced by the mind. So the comfort of knowledge or knowledge of comfort. Comfort, knowledge of the comfort, you have already identified with the comfort. When you identify with the comfort, you are the body. Mind in ignorance has tricked you and you lost the entire lesson. See that? Oh, then you're saying comfort where? It is in the body. Body of knowledge or knowledge of body? First, I have given you the choice. So when you have the body of the knowledge, it is choiceless awareness. When you say it is knowledge of the body, you still have choices. How come? The body is comfortable or not. Let me change the position here or not. You see that known and knower have become one. Falsely, it can never become one. But why it has become one? Because of ignorance, misunderstanding, misconception. Oh, so all the experiences takes place in the mind. So experiences of knowledge and mind of knowledge. Finished. You're taking a flight of an eagle. Why use the word eagle? Eagle goes up very high. I remember because there is a book by G. Krishnamurti whose title is Flight of an Eagle. So now, first line is done of this verse. Discerning, discerning that I am not the body. Second line, then mind settles in itself by itself. Why? How? Where? Mind will always play its role when you have an object. In deep sleep, do you remember? As if you are in deep sleep, but still conscious. I'm drawing a parallel. Oh, mind settles by itself. Patanjali, great master who has written the Yoga Sutra, says objectless state. You see that all the masters talk of the same thing in different ways to help us understand to reach to that state. So whether I say objectless state or whether I say choiceless awareness, oh, mind settles, mind settles. Yeah, we need a little deeper understanding. Mind settles. Now, I have a lot of thoughts, and how can I settle? How can I relax? Please help me control my mind. Say, for example, you have five thoughts, does not want you to relax. Another thought, you introduce the control. So you have knowledge of five thoughts plus knowledge of a control, you can never relax. Do you see that? You have to see it clearly. Discerning between the knower and the known is the key. Oh, so So it means, do you recall? It's a control of knowledge. Ah, drop the control. Let me settle in the knowledge. One thought of knowledge. So let me drop one thought number one, thought number two, thought number three, thought number four, thought number five. Where you are. Choiceless awareness. Look at it. How so this master made it so easy. Provided we are a seeker in the first two verses, I told you, you are a great seeker. You remain as a seeker even after this session. Now, once you are a seeker, you are always a seeker. It means you are a seeker in your personal life, in your professional, social life. You live into that life of a seeker. Then only you remind, then you will remind when the mind says, I'm not able to control my thoughts. And I gave an example of the five thoughts, means the five thoughts of knowledge, five experiences of knowledge, control of knowledge, gone. Where they are gone, they may be there. You have a memory of it, but I is not there. How come? They are like that, car is parked in the garage, bowls are there in the kitchen, but still you live into that state of choiceless awareness. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, but that talking of knowledge, what happens? So I experience as the brain is totally empty from where I'm speaking. I am speaking, I of knowledge, speaking of knowledge. Not all the time, but majority of the time when I speak, I'm using a language. I see brain is totally empty. What to speak next? Mind fears, but I continue to do so. So the mind is settled. Now that mind settles, you continue to live into that state of choiceless awareness. So, do you think that? Now you see another doubt. That is why we have to continue the journey. Another doubt pops up in the mind. So it means I'm a useless fellow to live in the choiceless awareness. How I live the life of transactional reality. The thoughts are there, but they are not you. So with that thought, you recognize you are sitting, you are meditating, you are listening, but there is a big gap between variety of objects, variety of experiences, variety of thoughts on one side and nowhere in the consciousness on the other side. And then how can you say it is a choiceless awareness? You see, lot of questions comes. We have to solve all those questions. Simple answer, knower is always one. There is no knower in the objects, variety of experiences, whether it is a pain or pleasure, whether it's a profit or loss, nothing. Why there is a choiceless awareness? There is only one consciousness. All the objects are inert, material. It has nothing to do with it. with the knower and the observer. It is independent. Why there is a choiceless awareness? The water has a choiceless awareness on which the waves rise and fall. Then what? Who are these waves? Objects, experiences. Oh, let me have a cup of tea. Yes, but you continue to live into that state of choiceless awareness. So people have a very wrong understanding or misunderstanding, misconception that you do not have a thought. Now, that thought is not a thinker, that thought is not a problem creator, that thought is not the doer, that thought is not an enjoyer. That is what is the choiceless awareness. In the beginning, we'll have some challenges if we remain as a seeker in the material life, but gradually, what happens? Discerning I'm not the body. Then what happens? The mind settles. That settling demands a constant contemplation and reflection in our daily life, not only 1 hour weekly, but we take this journey in our daily life. Then there is a every chance, if I use the word, for awakening. So any thought, feeling, emotion, experiences enters. Can I explain by assembly? The water is the same. Any wave or the wind, nature of the water changes. It appears, yes, because the wave rises, wave falls. It appears. That is the nature of our real self, my friends. We are that, but mind, due to ignorance, is not ready to accept. And that is why we need a constant contemplation and reflection in our life. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. Share what experiences. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you for the session. I had two contemplations. The first one is around your statement, if the real self is infinite, all the manifestations of the real self are also infinite. So I asked myself, how is it possible? And my own answer to my own question was that um, there is no object in the world that could be separated, completely separated from other objects, even on the molecular or atomic or subatomic level. uh, all objects are interconnected in one way or the other.
Yes,
So if there are no boundaries, or we can say these boundaries are what we experience by the limited sense organs, but in fact, these boundaries are non-existent, then it is completely clear and true that every object is infinite because there is no boundary.
beautiful.
So that was my first contemplation. And the second one was uh, when you were explaining about choiceless awareness, I was asking myself, what is the relation between the discernment and choiceless awareness? Because the discernment is clearly a choice, and choiceless awareness is clearly a lack of or absence of a choice. So again, I answered to my own question in the following way, that the discernment happens on the level of intellect, and the choiceless awareness happens beyond the level of intellect, where there is no division uh, between objects, where all objects are seen as one, and hence there is nothing to choose from.
Beautiful, beautiful. You see the first contemplation. I say I'm Girish and here is a Dennis. So the mind, due to the ignorance, causes this difference. But if I contemplate what this body is composed of, take five elements. You are also composed of the five elements. And they go, and we are aware of these five elements are infinite. So how can I say that I am different? But how I am different than the you is my false notion. There comes beautifully you narrated. I appreciate it. But the second part, uh, let us see from that angle, that choiceless awareness, and with reference to the false. And you rightly said, when I discern, the discernment has to be between the two things. I have to separate, say, for example, the white rice with the sesame seed. That is the example given in our text by our masters. So we know the properties of the rice and the mustard seed, and then we can separate it. Here, what we are separating by discernment, we are separating the false from the real. The false appears true, but it is not true. So in that moment of the separation, the false dissolves. What is left is the choiceless awareness. I am husband. Show me where is the husband. I am wife. Where is the wife? Show me. Show me where is the. There is no husband. There is no wife. There is no son, daughter. It's a label superimposed for the sake of convenience. So that there comes the choiceless awareness. And then we say, okay, that is it. Beautifully narrated. Dennis, how are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Dennis's point was exactly where the first point was exactly where I was going. Consciousness is not David, but David is consciousness. And then when I was contemplating and reflecting on that, it was the infinite possibilities of David being consciousness just took over the rest of my practice.
Yes, yes, it's another explanation. So we have to put all these explanations in our head, in our intellect. Why? So that I can drop my ignorance and misconception. That is the life of a seeker, 24 hours, internally, in your intellect. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. I like the perspective of the mind of knowledge, the experience of knowledge, the body of knowledge, putting it right back to the consciousness being the strand that is connected to everything. And so then that everything is connected.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You see that everyone's mind perceives, picks up a different principle. It is good. That is how we have more than 3,000 texts. And that perspective, you remember that perspective, hatred of knowledge, not knowledge of hatred. So if I have a knowledge of a hatred, I'm going to fight. So the Eastern wisdom is not dropping anything. It says a hatred of knowledge. A consciousness cannot have the nature of a hatred. Oh, mind, you are causing the problem. So the moment I separate it and I enter into the choiceless awareness, that is the beauty. How are you, Samir?
Sir, meditation was very deep, and I think Noor was looking at all the things happening during the meditation.
Yes,
Means
yes,
I was aware, and thoughts were coming, going. I was listening, and body was lying down,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it was totally in peace. And I think that choiceless awareness means this is our true nature. So we don't have anything to choose. We have to reach there.
That's another explanation. If the mind is centered in that real self, and the real self is choiceless, why it is a choiceless? I know that what he picked up. I said, if there are two, then only I have to choose. But there is all pervading, one infinite, eternal consciousness is there, then what to choose? Who chooses? The mind. Why it chooses? In ignorance. What happens in ignorance? It says knowledge of this object, so I have object and I have an experiences. Do you see? That is what happens. Beautiful. How are you, Terry?
I think
If,
the infinite
yeah,
nature is all pervading, and then that we also share that nature,
yeah.
that we are of that nature, that's very good news. And so
We
I
don't,
was
we
very
don't share. We are that.
um yes, but I hadn't thought of that until today. So I was very glad that to hear you say that. I
We
bought
are, we are
the
that nature. Your mind is objecting. Let so
no, I'm not objecting. I'm very happy.
very happy. That is good. Yes,
The thing that my mind has a problem with is the word of, and I don't think that's an important problem. I think it's some kind of grammatical hang
yes,
up. So every time I got hung up on that confusion, I just decided to ignore it.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
and then I just paid attention to everything that I did understand.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah, the mind hangs up, and why it hangs up? Knowledge of an object, whether that object is hate, limitation, body, mind, intellect, relations, time, space.
Mhm. Yes, I understood what you were saying, but I have an idea that the word of can mean something else. So I started thinking, oh, does he mean it this way or this way? And then I was really upset because I couldn't figure it out. So
Hey,
this week
I'm
I decided
happy.
to
Yeah,
ignore that.
yes, I'm so happy. In spite of that challenges, you have started communicating, and your communication becomes better and better. So it means the mind is settling into that choiceless awareness. It breaks up all the limitations of the body in spite of the disease.
Oh,
It happens. That is where you have to reach.
oh.
Yes. How are you, Vaibhav? Now you have to unmute.
Thank you, sir. Sir, mine is calm. So the understanding is that object is not the source of knowledge, because if that is the case, then everyone would be getting the same knowledge from one particular object. But
Yes,
now,
beautiful.
but now, what is happening? Like the consciousness goes through the mind and the ignorance and create one particular knowledge for someone for a particular object, and so we are getting different knowledges through our mind.
Do you
So
see, my friends? He has a different perspective. That is the all of you have reflected, and that is the power of reflection. I like coffee because it gives me pleasure, but it does not give pleasure to everyone. So that clearly shows the source of knowledge is not the coffee. That is what he is saying. So source of knowledge is not anger. Source of knowledge is not anxiety. Source of knowledge cannot be stress, which is only an object. And in your case study, body is not the source of your limitation. It cannot be. See that. If it is not, then we enter into the knower. We enter into that choiceless awareness. The last thing, oh yeah, first Ashok, and then I'll tell you something great. Yes, Ashok.
Sir, namaskar.
Namaskar, sir.
Sir, thank you so much. And sir, the as Grover says, na, like this indicates like this. So mean choiceless awareness is the real self or real self. We understand that.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes. Ashok, what you're
that
saying, my master used to say, there is only one reality. So he used to point out to the space. The rest are false because it is visible. It is made up of the name and the form. What I wanted to tell you, my friends, we are undertaking a journey that when you start contemplating and reflecting, you reveal those principles as it happened today with almost everyone. The teacher in the Eastern wisdom is looking for that kind of a reflection where you reveal that knowledge. So what you all said, it is already written in different text. So that is why we say we are not going to change. Let the science progress. What they know 100 years ago about the matter, they know totally different what they know. No, but our knowledge does not change. So that is why we say the Upanishads specifically, there are 360 or sometimes people say almost 400 Upanishads. These are the texts, not written, they are revealed. You have a taste of that revelation. So you are continuing the journey of Eastern wisdom. You are continuing the tradition. At the outer level, we can say you start teaching. Yes, you start expressing, but this is what a teacher is looking for in every seeker. Because now that revelation has started, and you continue those revelations, that is all. Then this tradition will never die. That is all for today. Thank you very much for the meeting.
thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Namaste,
Namaskar.
everyone.
you.
Namaste, everyone.